Tanks, infantry, and artillery only really work well together if you understand, truly understand the rule. Each type of unit in the game has its own strengths and weaknesses. Artillery can hit stuff behind cover, can hit stuff a long way away, but it can't see very well. Tanks are very powerful, they're very popular, they're probably the most popular unit in the game. They have weapons, they have armor, they have armored piercing, they've got mobility, they're just cool looking. There's lots of YouTube channels dedicated just to tanks alone because of that fact. But they don't see very well. Infantry are weaker. They don't do well if they're not supported. This is the very basic British infantry. What they do is see things really well. So you kind of want to push them into cover out around what's happening. Oops. The officer has seen that vehicle. If you look at the map right here, I'll zoom out a little bit so you understand this. Lots of people don't know this, so don't feel bad if you don't know this. But the reason the officer sees well is because he's got binoculars. He's got a little binocular icon right here. He can see a little bit further. If I push him up and keep him in cover, you'll see on the mini-map here that that little view area, this is what everybody else can see. He's just seen those guys right now. They're a ways off. But the tank is already firing. Let me zoom the map back out. So the synergy that's happening right now, for want of a better word, is the infantry, the officer and the infantry are seeing stuff. I'm going to push these guys up here. Spread them out a little bit. Don't keep them all in one place because they'll die to one artillery strike. The tank has the firepower to kill. The artillery, which in this case is represented by a mortar section, a mortar team. I'll move them up here so they're easy to find. We're really up against the edge of the map now, so see that grey area. I'm going to put these guys kind of in line behind this haystack. A haystack is not very good cover, but it's cover from visibility. They will probably start firing when these guys get into range. And you can see we're doing damage right now. The units that have been spotted by the infantry. So the infantry is doing the talking. The mortars are doing the firing, and the tanks are doing the firing. So we are going to sit here for a while. The enemy have found us now. And the trick would be, this is an ammo crate which comes in really handy in the small starter level games. It's very cheap. We can get ammo reloads. In the inventory here we have 30 HE rounds, 10 smoke, and they will get replenished by this ammo box. And I'm going to pull the infantry off the ammo box and place them in a bit of cover over here.
Ready, sir.
Get over there, Private Smith, Trevor Smith. So again, principles here. The infantry is creating the conditions for the other units to do the killing. The infantry can barely defend itself, but it doesn't have to start defending itself because the mortars and the tanks are doing all the damage. The tank is taking on this vehicle here. The mortars are taking on the infantry. Everybody's got their own specific job. The officer is blocking for everybody. Make sense? So we're going to stay here for a while and we're going to soak up the enemy units. We'll try and get us. Kind of want to push break up to the next break again. That's another thing I'll talk about here real quick. It's not wise to move the officer right now. I want to wait until there's nothing out there and then have him do the movement. Here we're moving Officer Fraser Shaw, Lieutenant Fraser Shaw, over here, and have him run and take cover over here. And that way I'll be spreading out. You see the visibility circle right here? That's what he can see very well. He's gone back to his... trying to keep him in cover. That micro terrain, I don't know how well you can see that micro terrain. But the terrain in front of him is slightly higher. And he's looking kind of belly down at an angle. His head is higher than his feet. And he's looking over this terrain right here. So that's something else that people don't really understand about the game, is the terrain affects gameplay. And I'm having this guy go back to his binos. That's your biggest weapon, Lieutenant Shaw. That's your biggest weapon, is seeing stuff and calling it out. So I'm going to move Lieutenant Shaw up a little bit.
Ready, sir.
Let's put him behind that piece of cover there. the width of the glider doesn't make very good cover. The mortar is doing the damage right now. Mortars are very inaccurate. Well, that's subjective, I suppose. If we click on the mortar, then we click V. Kind of direct the fire a little bit.
Feindliches Geschütz! Ich brauche einen Sanitäter!
German soldiers panicking a little bit. There we go, we got him. Alright. So now we're going to consider moving up or staying here for a little bit. I think I'm going to put this tank down in a bit of cover. I'm going to take one of the infantrymen.
I'm ready.
That's rear echelon rifleman Jeremy Barnes. Get up on top of that tank, Barnes, and man that machine gun. He's very vulnerable when he's up on top of the tank. So here you can see the tank is doing its job of eliminating vehicles. Those vehicles, enemy vehicles, are driving down this road. They're being seen by the infantry and by the officer, who are setting the conditions for the tank to do the killing. V moves you into manual drive mode. I just tidied him up a little bit. He's kind of hull down right now. That means he can fire, but he's not going to take an awful lot of damage. Most of the tank is hidden behind terrain. We're going to be heading in roughly that direction. You see the train tracks along the map here. The same as these train tracks along here. We're orienting the map to the ground. There's a bridge over there, there's an objective over there, so we're heading that way. The enemy vehicles have crossed the river, come along the road here and down there like that. And I also have a tank crew hidden back here. That's kind of my common starting force, because we're going to force multiply by capturing enemy vehicles. But we can't do that just yet until we get up in there and we've got this area secure, then we can start capturing. That one might be useful, that one will be very useful. So with that said, let's move up a little bit. And get rid of it. Oh, hello. MG assist, so that means there's a machine gunner out here somewhere. Here comes the rest of the squad. So again, just to reinforce the point, the infantry spots the officer, especially with his binos, can see the infantry. And then the tank and the mortars, the mortar really does a good job at suppression. And the tank does the killing. Everybody's got a job to do. So that was a Recon section, an Alf Clara section. There's the light machine gun that I want to capture. And I really want to capture that truck, that Skidzer. Oh, an armor guy has been sent in to recover some buildings. So again, we're a couple of minutes into the game. We're 300 points. The enemy has 300 points right here. When I get to 500, I like to take the first objective. That's kind of my timing. But we're soaking up their points right now. We're making them expend their units, and I don't think we've lost anybody yet, so that's a good thing. I am going to send the infantry guys in their half section a little bit further up. Keeping them prone, they're kind of sneaking through the grass. This is the other half of the half section. And I'm going to move the tank up a little bit. Kind of looking for the threat to come down the road, so I'm keeping in this ditch here with the little Stuart. And the Stuart is commanded by, it's kind of a fun role-playing thing, Corporal Keith Barnes. Oh, it's an enemy tank, I don't know if it's another speedler. Okay. Again, everybody's doing their job. This guy is doing a great job, a cracking job of crossing here. You saw those guys coming across there. Another German infantry reconnaissance section. I don't think the tank can see that very well. The AI is not fantastic. It has range. I am going to tell him to shoot by right-clicking them right now. again, most commonly every game, if I can, on an attack, I will sit here and soak up enemies' points by killing all the enemy forces right here while I'm in a defensive position. Then I'm going to loot these bodies. I'm going to steal their light machine guns, their submachine guns and light machine guns and grenades. I'm going to loot their vehicles when I get up here. I'm going to start pushing my defensive line up to this area here. So the enemy has something back here that they want to protect that has smoke. They pop smoke so we can't see them and shoot them. So I'm going to tell the mortars to fire in the center here anyway. Oh, they're not within real good range. The mortar only has a range of 160, I think, 155, 160. Wet ground is not the best. Oh, what are you doing? Get down on the... guys, come on. Standing there like dopes. He's using his binos. These guys can move up a little bit. Put them into there. A lone scout out there. Nothing blued up. There's a piece of micro terrain right here where this grass area looks to be lower. Yep, so he's got a good view on what's happening right now. Again, you see how this works? The infantry see stuff, and then the tanks and the mortars do the killing. He's trying to swim. Poor Private Schultz. Like, I'm going to swim back across. Bad idea, buddy. Got 2 guys here, 1 guy there, got 4 or 5 guys over here. 5, move them up to there. I'm wanting to sneak them across here, but I need to have the enemy's focus before I do that. Probably going to move the tank up a little bit. Tanky tank. It's barely a tank, sir. I don't really have a British accent left anymore. It's a messed up accent. Somebody did ask me about this. I've been in the US for a very long time, since '96, and I have a weird accent, but it's a conglomeration of my British and American time. I think I'm going to pull him a little closer. I think this is dead ground right here. I'll check that in a second. Yeah, it's dead ground. So that road is higher than the ground right here. So Corporal, why did I do that?
Awaiting your orders, sir.
Corporal Porter is mortar team. I don't really want to put this tank on the bridge, on the railway bridge. That's kind of the high ground. That's asking for it to get shot. I'm a little worried as I transit over here there's going to be an anti-tank gun. The AI does a very good job moving mortars and guns and anti-tank guns around and surprising you. So it would not be a surprise if there's a mortar or an anti-tank gun back here somewhere. So that's what I need to be ready for. I'm going to leapfrog across here. Have the infantry cross over. Time to get your cardio in, guys. Leg it. So while they're distracted, we're definitely taking the objective. Okay, so we're taking the first objective. I'm going to put them in cover, laying down behind the sandbags. Move this up a little bit. It wouldn't surprise me if there's something that I can't see that's very close or maneuvering on me now. I want to put the tank here. These guys provided observation and covering fire from the mortar. Flanked them on the left side here, so we're looking pretty healthy right now. I'm a little worried about moving the big heavy tank over the top of this railway line, because they'll be seen by everybody on guard at that point. Okay. I'm sure. Where are the dead bodies? See some movement right here. scouts have found somebody. Mortars can move up to about here. Bring the ammo box with them. So again, we're keeping that principle going. Each type must create the conditions for the other type to work effectively. Tank is my most valuable unit. I don't want to destroy him. I don't want him to get ambushed. So I have scout cars pushing ahead. I have this officer right now doing his job. And these guys are just not moving. Sir, take a nosedive into the dirt, please. So that's the infantry waiting to see us, and we're hopefully putting a kibosh on that. So now you see they're starting to light up with stuff. Scouts are pushed forward. The armoured cars and scout cars have a really good field of view. They're designed for reconnaissance, so the game reflects that. You see better than other armoured units. Moving these things behind to cover, so the enemy's that way, so the cover will be on this side. I want to get the mortar in range. Here we have a bit of action going on towards the final objective. Well, we've got the right side cleared. Can't. Bad bit of driving on my part. Wait for that smoke to dissipate before I take it. I don't have long left. I've got enemy has 872 points out of 1,000. Alright, move the infantry up to this flank. There's the anti-tank gun. See that? Right there. Ah, nasty. I need to capture that. Make sure it doesn't get recrewed. Okay, sir. Lieutenant Shaw, move up. Ross, get inside that building and make sure it's clear for the lieutenant. Having an officer makes the points plus 10 in your advantage when you're capturing a capture point or a flag point. Guys over here, the mortars is successing. Where's the ammo? Give that back over to the mortar. The ammo box. Again, the scout car here is the one that's spotting those guys. The mortar is the one doing the damage. And the flag is going up the flagpole. And there we go, we won. Taught you the infantry, tanks and artillery all work together and they complement each other. They have strengths and weaknesses. If you haven't already subscribed or hit the like button, please do so. I really appreciate that. That helps me with the magic YouTube algorithm. Now I'm creating content on a regular basis. I very much appreciate you watching this. Peace out. Love and light.